Welcome to Charles Travels, the podcast where we explore the wonders of our world and the stories that shape us. I'm your host, Charles, and I'm delighted to have you join me on this journey today. As we begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the complexity of the world we live in. The news can be overwhelming, with stories of challenge and hardship from every corner of the globe. But even amidst these difficulties, there are moments of hope, resilience, and community that remind us of the best of human nature. Today, I want to share with you a story that caught my attention recently. It's about the city of Denver, Colorado, where a remarkable event took place. The nonprofit organization, Mile High United Way, partnered with local businesses and volunteers to create a unique community gathering. They set up a massive outdoor picnic in a park, inviting people from all walks of life to come together, share food, and build connections. What struck me about this story is the way it highlights the power of community and human connection. In an era where we're often isolated by our screens and our differences, it's refreshing to see people coming together in such a meaningful way. The event was a beautiful reminder that, despite our challenges, we have the capacity to create positive change and foster a sense of belonging. As I reflect on this story, I'm reminded of the many incredible communities I've had the privilege to visit during my travels. From the vibrant streets of Havana to the stunning landscapes of rural Afghanistan, I've seen firsthand the resilience and warmth of people from all over the world. But for now, let's take a closer look at this remarkable community gathering in Denver. The event was attended by thousands of people, all united by a shared desire to connect with others and build stronger relationships. It was a powerful reminder that, even in the face of adversity, we have the capacity to come together and create something beautiful. We'll be right back with more fascinating travel adventures on Charles Travels. Welcome back to Charles Travels. I'm your host, Charles. As we continue our journey through the stories that shape our world, we find ourselves in Ireland, where a fascinating tale of history, culture, and identity is unfolding. The National Museum of Ireland has embarked on a profound mission to re-examine its collections, particularly those artifacts with a complex, often painful past tied to colonialism. Imagine walking through the hallowed halls of this esteemed institution, surrounded by over 15,000 objects, each with its own story, its own history. But as we delve deeper, we begin to unravel the intricate tapestry of provenance, of how these artifacts came to be here. It's a journey that requires patience, expertise, and a deep respect for the cultures and communities from which these items originated. The museum's curator of world collections has been working diligently to identify parts of its legacy collections that no longer reflect contemporary collecting practices or ethics. This is not merely an exercise in cataloging, it's a thoughtful and often difficult process of confronting the past, acknowledging the complexities of colonialism, and seeking a path towards healing and reconciliation. As we explore this story, we're reminded of the importance of tradition, of preserving our cultural heritage while also being mindful of its impact on others. The advisory committee established by the government has been studying cultural heritage collections in Ireland, and their findings are both enlightening and sobering. Only a fraction of institutions have conducted thorough provenance research on their collections, leaving many questions unanswered. But amidst these challenges, there's a sense of hope, a recognition that by engaging with communities, sharing knowledge, and facilitating dialogue, we can work towards a more inclusive, compassionate understanding of our shared history. The National Museum of Ireland's efforts serve as a powerful reminder of the dignity of ordinary work, the beauty of everyday life, and the importance of respecting the stories that shape us. As we pause to reflect on this story, let's appreciate the gentle pace of rural Ireland, where tradition and innovation coexist in harmony. Let's celebrate the local customs and traditions that enrich our lives and acknowledge the seasonal changes that bring us closer to the natural world. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Charles Travels, as we explore more tales of ordinary people doing extraordinary things and the connections that bind us all. Welcome back to Charles Travels, folks. As we wrap up today's journey, I'd like to take you to the world of retail, where the gap, a familiar name in American apparel, has just shared its second quarter results for 2025. Now, I know what you're thinking. What could be so interesting about a company's financial reports? But bear with me, because this story is about more than just numbers. It's about the pulse of our economy, the changing face of retail, and the resilience of American businesses. According to Gap's latest report, their net sales for the second quarter of 2025 came in at $3.7 billion, which is flat compared to the same period last year. Now, that might not sound like a lot to cheer about, but consider this. They saw a 1% increase in comparable sales, and online sales were up by 3%, accounting for a whopping 34% of their total net sales. That's a testament to how our shopping habits are evolving, folks. Let's take a closer look at some of the individual brands under Gap's umbrella. Old Navy reported a 1% growth in net sales, with comparable sales increasing by 2%. The Gap brand itself saw a 4% increase in comparable sales, while Banana Republic's net sales were $475 million. However, Athleta's net sales took an 11% hit, with comparable sales dropping by 9%. It's clear that each brand is facing its own unique challenges and opportunities. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Charles, what about the bottom line? Well, Gap's gross margin fell by 140 basis points to 41.2%, primarily due to a decrease in merchandise margin. But despite this, their operating income was $292 million, with an operating margin of 7.8%. And their net income? A respectable $216 million, with diluted earnings per share of $5.75. As we look ahead to the rest of 2025, Gap is expecting net sales to grow between 1% and 2%, with a net interest income of $15 million. They're also forecasting operating margins to remain between 6.7% and 7%. And in terms of store closures, they're planning to shutter 35 locations. But here's the thing, folks. Gap's story is about more than just numbers. It's about a company that's been around for decades, adapting to changing times and finding ways to stay relevant. As their CEO, Richard Dickson, put it, "We are advancing our transformation with discipline, clarity, and momentum. We remain committed to building a high-performing company that delivers sustainable, long-term value for our shareholders." As I reflect on Gap's story, I'm reminded of the importance of tradition and heritage in American business. This is a company that's been a part of our retail landscape for generations, and their commitment to evolving and thriving is a testament to the power of resilience and determination. And so, as we close out today's episode of Charles Travels, I want to leave you with a sense of hope and optimism. Whether you're a small business owner or just someone who loves to shop, remember that the stories of companies like Gap are a reminder that even in uncertain times, there's always room for growth, innovation, and transformation. That's all for today's Charles Travels. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, keep on traveling. That's all for today's Charles Travels. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, keep on traveling.